The night was quiet in Sector 9 of the space colony. People had finished their work. Lights from buildings glowed in the dark. But something strange happened at 2:13 a.m. A loud explosion broke the silence. Boom! The sound echoed through the metal walls. Fire burst out from a small housing unit. Red and orange flames climbed into the sky. Alarms started ringing. People began to run. Fire! Call security! Someone shouted inside the burning building. Smoke was thick and dark. It was hard to see. A woman coughed as she tried to protect her child. She was not human. Her skin was light blue, her eyes large and silver. Her name was Elira. Her son Novi was only 6 years old. He held her tightly, scared and crying. "Mom, I'm scared," he said in a shaking voice. "I know." "My star," she replied softly. "We will find a way out." But the door was blocked. Metal beams had fallen. Smoke filled the room. Oxygen was low. They were trapped far away. A man named Rayan sat in his workshop. He was fixing an old drone. The noise from the fire reached his ears. He looked up, alert. "What the hell?" he said. Rayan stepped outside and saw the flames. People were running, but no one was going close to the fire. Too dangerous. Too risky, but Rayan was different. He used to be a soldier. He had seen war. He had seen people die. He could not stand back and watch someone burn. Grabbing his jacket and a small breather mask, he ran toward the fire. When he reached the building, the heat hit him hard. He heard crying. A child's voice. That's what pulled him in. Without thinking, he kicked the broken door and stepped inside. "Hello? Is anyone here?" he shouted. "Here, please help." Elira's voice answered. Rayan followed the sound. Flames danced on the walls. He coughed, covered his mouth, and pushed through. He saw them, the alien woman and her child, hiding under a fallen table. Elira's eyes were wide with fear. "We can't get out," she said. Double quotes. "Yes, we can," Rayan replied. He moved the heavy metal beam with all his strength. Fire burned near his arm, but he kept going. Finally, he cleared the way. "Can you walk?" he asked Elira. "Yes," she said, holding her son tightly. "Follow me." Rayan guided them through the smoke. The fire was growing. A burning wall fell just behind them. Elira screamed, but Rayan grabbed her and pulled her forward. At the last moment, he kicked open a back door and they stumbled outside. Fresh air. Novi coughed hard, but he was safe. Elira fell to her knees, holding her son and crying. "You saved." "Use," she whispered. Rayan looked at her. She was not human. He had seen aliens before. During the war, he had fought them. But now, she looked like any other mother. "I just did what anyone should do," he said. But the truth was, no one else had helped. People were watching from a distance, scared. Some looked confused, others angry. Why is he helping them? "Someone whispered. Rayan ignored it. He looked at the boy. Novi stared at him with big, shining eyes. There was something strange in that look, something deep. Powerful. Then Lyra's small wrist communicator beeped. She pressed it. A voice came through. "Cold, robotic, Unit 47 destroyed. Targets may have escaped. Confirm elimination." "They must not survive." Rayan froze. What the hell was that? Elira turned off the device quickly. "Who was that?" Rayan asked, stepping closer. Elira looked away. "They're hunting us," she said. "Please, don't tell anyone we're alive." Rayan didn't speak for a moment. He looked at the boy again. Novi was still staring at him, not with fear, but with hope. Rayan made a decision in that moment. "Come with me," he said. "You can't stay here." Elira looked shocked. "Why?" "Because they'll come back. And this time, they won't just burn a building." He took her hand and led them away. Into the shadows of Sector 9, the fire behind them still burned. But something new had started that night. A bond. A promise. Rayan had saved them once. Now, he would protect them. No matter what. Asterisk. The stars above Sector 9 looked cold that night. Rayan's small repair shop stood at the edge of the colony. It was old and quiet, surrounded by metal walls and broken machines. Inside, Elira sat in the corner, holding her son tightly. Novi was asleep, wrapped in a blanket, breathing softly. Rayan stood near his tools, watching them from a distance. He had seen many strange things during his military life, but nothing like this. A child and a mother alien, scared, hunted now, hiding in his home. He didn't understand why he had helped them. It just felt right. Alira looked up. Her face was tired, her skin slightly burned from the fire. "Thank you," she said softly. Rayan nodded. "You're safe here. For now." Alira's eyes lowered. "We're never truly safe." That night, Rayan couldn't sleep. Questions filled his mind. Why were they targeted? Who sent the message on Alira's communicator? What was that voice? They must not survive. It didn't sound like criminals. It sounded like military. In the morning, he made coffee and sat beside Alira. The boy was awake, quietly looking around the shop, curious. Rayan handed Alira a cup. "We need to talk." She hesitated, then took a small sip. Rayan asked, "Why are they after you?" Alira didn't answer at first. Then she looked at her son. "It's because of him." Rayan looked at Novi. He seemed like a normal child, quiet, soft, a little shy, but his silver eyes held something unusual. "What about him?" Rayan asked. Alira took a deep breath. "Novi is not like other children. He is gifted." Rayan frowned. "You mean smart?" "No," she said. "I mean powerful. His father was a scientist. He worked for the High Council on our planet. They discovered something deep inside certain bloodlines, abilities connected to thought, emotion, and time itself." Rayan leaned forward. "Time?" She nodded. "My husband used his own DNA to unlock this gift in Novi, but when the council found out, they sent men to kill us." Rayan sat back in shock. Novi walked over, holding a small object in his hand. It looked like a silver cube. He gave it to Rayan. "What is this?" Rayan asked. "Mem cube," Alira said. "It stores memory like a living diary." Rayan pressed the center. The cube glowed blue. Images floated above it. Alira and her husband working in a lab, Novi as a baby, and finally, soldiers with black masks breaking down their door. Alira turned her face. "They killed him in front of me. We ran ever since." Rayan felt anger rise inside him. This was not just a science experiment. This was a hunt, a cover-up. Why would they kill a child? He asked. "Because they are afraid," Alira said. "They fear what Novi could become." Later that day, Rayan went out for supplies, food, medicine, parts for the shop. He kept his head down. People still remembered the fire. Whispers followed. He saved them. An alien child? Maybe he's a traitor. Rayan didn't care. He was used to being alone, but when he returned to the shop, the door was half open. He rushed inside, heart racing. "Alira?" "Novi?" No answer. His tools were scattered, wires on the floor. The power was off. Everything was silent. Then he heard a sound. He pulled out his old blaster from under the counter and walked slowly toward the back room. He opened the door. Alira was there, her hand covering Novi's mouth, both hiding in a corner. She looked terrified. Rayan lowered his weapon. "What happened?" "I heard something." "Someone tried to open the door?" she whispered. Rayan checked the outside cameras. One had been broken. Another showed a dark figure standing outside, earlier tall, wearing a black hood. But the face was hidden. "They found us again," Alira said. "We can't stay." Rayan looked at the screen, then back at them. "No," he said firmly. "We won't run. Not yet." Alira stared at him. "Why are you helping us?" Rayan thought for a moment. "When I was a soldier, we were told to fight aliens like you, but I never saw the enemy. I only saw families, people who were afraid, just like you." He looked at Novi, "And I've never seen a child like him. He's not a threat, he's special." Novi came forward and touched Rayan's hand. For a second, Rayan saw a strange image in his mind, a vision. In it, Rayan stood in front of a massive ship, fighting soldiers to protect Novi. He was bleeding, but still standing. Behind him, Alira cried out his name. Then the vision was gone. Rayan pulled his hand back, breathing hard. "What was that?" Alira looked shocked. "You saw it too?" Rayan nodded. "It felt real," Alira whispered. "It is. That's his gift." Rayan looked at the child. Again, he had not just saved 2 lives, he had stepped into something much bigger, and there was no turning back. The sun never truly rose in Sector 9, only artificial lights blinked across the sky, casting a cold blue glow over the colony. Rayan had not slept. He stood near the window of his shop, watching shadows move in the fog. Inside, Alira checked a small bag. It held just a few things: medicine, a tool for the mem-cube, and a small crystal from her home planet. Novi sat beside her, silent, his silver eyes staring at nothing. He had been quiet all morning. Too quiet. Rayan walked over and crouched beside him. "Everything okay, kid?" Novi looked up slowly. "They're coming." Rayan froze. "Who?" But Novi didn't speak again. He just stared out the window. An hour later, Rayan left to find supplies. Alira stayed behind, locking the doors and covering the windows. She tried to distract Novi, but he was tense. His small hands trembled. Outside, Rayan moved through back alleys. He didn't trust the markets anymore. Too many eyes. Too many questions. He found an old friend, Kel, who sold black market tech. "I need a scrambler and some fuel cells," Rayan said. Kel raised an eyebrow. "What for? Running from someone?" Rayan didn't answer. Kel handed him the gear. "Word is someone important went missing after that fire. Alien, female, and a child. Some say bounty hunters are in town." Rayan's eyes narrowed. "What kind of hunters?" "The kind that don't ask questions. They find, they kill." Rayan paid quickly and left. When he returned to the shop, the door was open again. "No," he whispered and ran inside. The front room was a mess. Tools on the ground, the lights were off. "Alira!" "Novi!" He found them in the back again, just like before, but this time Alira was bleeding. A deep cut on her arm. She held a broken chair leg like a weapon. Rayan rushed to her. "What happened?" "Someone broke in," she said. "I fought them off. They wore a mask. They didn't speak." Rayan helped her to a chair. He looked at Novi. The boy's hands were glowing faintly soft white light, like a flame without heat. Rayan had seen many things in his life, but this power, this was something else. He turned to Alira. "We can't stay." "I have a ship. It's old, but it can fly." She looked surprised. "You have a ship?" "I used to smuggle gear off-world." "It's hidden outside the colony." Alira nodded slowly. "Then we leave now." But Novi spoke up, voice small. "It's too late." Rayan looked out the window and saw them. 3 figures in black suits, tall and still, standing across the street. Their faces were covered. Their weapons were drawn. Rayan whispered, "Hunters." One of them raised a scanner. A red light blinked. "They've locked on to us." Alira shouted. Rayan grabbed his gear and motioned to the back door. "Go, now!" They ran out through the alley, turning corners, dodging light posts. Behind them, heavy footsteps followed. The hunters were too fast for normal men. Rayan led them through a sewer tunnel. Water dripped from the ceiling. The smell was awful, but it was a way out. One hunter dropped into the tunnel behind them. Rayan turned and fired his old blaster. Sparks flew as the shot hit the wall. "Keep going!" He shouted to Alira. She pushed Novi forward. The tunnel opened into a large drainage area. In the middle stood an old metal ship, covered in rust and dust. Rayan ran to it, opening the side hatch. "Get in!" Novi climbed in first. Alira followed, breathing hard. The hunter stepped into the light. For the first time, Rayan saw its face metal and wires. "It was not human, a machine," he said in shock. The hunter raised its arm. A weapon unfolded from its wrist. Rayan fired again, this time hitting its chest. The machine sparked and fell, twitching. He jumped into the ship and locked the hatch. "Hold on!" The engine coughed, then roared to life. Dust blew everywhere as the ship lifted off the ground. Bullets hit the side as more hunters arrived, but it was too late. They were in the sky. The stars returned above them. The ship shook as it left the colony behind. Inside, silence fell. Alira wrapped her wound and looked at Rayan. "That wasn't just a hunter. That was military-grade tech." Rayan nodded. "Whoever wants you dead has power." Novi stood near the window, watching the stars. Then he turned around. "I saw something," he said. Rayan looked at him. What did you see? A place, a planet, safe, hidden. We have to go there, Illyra frowned. Where is it? I don't know the name, Novi said, but I can show you. He reached for Rayan's hand again. Another vision came this time of a green planet with glowing mountains and deep forests, a place untouched by war. Rayan pulled back. His hands were shaking. Illyra looked at him. Will you still help us? Rayan stared into the stars. The hunters would follow. The danger was growing. But something in Novi's eyes gave him strength. He nodded slowly. I started this. I'll finish it. And with that, they flew into the dark, with hunters behind and hope ahead. Asterisk, the ship drifted through the stars like a ghost in the dark. Inside, silence filled the air. The hum of the engine was soft, steady, almost like breathing. Rayan sat alone in the cockpit, hands tight on the controls. His jaw was tense. His eyes, fixed on the stars, were heavy not from tiredness, but from memory. Behind him, Illyra treated her wound quietly. Novi sat near the window, drawing shapes in the foggy glass with his finger. They were safe, for now, but Rayan's mind was not. He couldn't stop seeing the metal face of the hunter. It wasn't just a machine, it was military tech, Earth-made. Designed for one purpose, eliminate targets without emotion, and now, it was hunting a child. They landed on a forgotten moon called Vara 3, a dead mining colony from the old days. No cities, no patrols. Just silence, dust, and broken buildings. This place is empty, Illyra said, looking around. That's why it's perfect, Rayan replied. We'll rest here, regroup. He helped Illyra into a half-collapsed building, set up heaters, and started repairs on the ship. It had taken damage during the escape. Novi wandered off, exploring safely within the nearby structures. Rayan trusted his instincts. Now Novi seemed to feel danger before it came. When night fell, a strange coldness came over the moon. The wind sounded like whispers. Illyra sat near a heater, wrapping herself in a blanket. Rayan stood by the door, watching the stars. You don't talk much, she said gently. Rayan didn't respond right away. I used to, he finally said. She looked at him. What changed? Rayan sighed. The war? He sat down beside her. The heater flickered. His voice was low, dry. I was a soldier during the Earth-Zoran conflict. I followed orders, shot targets, protected the borders. Illyra said nothing. She just listened. One day we raided a small village. Intel said it was a rebel base, but when we entered, there were only families, children, old people, no weapons. He paused. His eyes seemed far away now. I told my commander. He said, to clean up anyway. We were told aliens were dangerous. Monsters, Illyra's voice was soft. Did you do it? Rayan shook his head. No, I walked away. They called me a traitor. I was arrested, discharged, forgotten. She looked at him for a long moment. And now, you're protecting one of them. Rayan gave a small, bitter smile. Maybe I'm trying to fix what I broke. From the shadows, Novi spoke. You're not broken. They both looked up. Novi walked over and sat beside Rayan. You're just healing, Rayan blinked. Those words from a child, it hit something deep inside. Later that night, while the others slept, Rayan scanned the ship again. Something didn't feel right. He checked the signal logs. One caught his eye. A soft, silent pulse had been sent from their ship. While they were escaping Sector 9, someone tracked us, he whispered, or worse. He turned quickly toward the sleeping room. Illyra, she woke instantly. What is it? Did you bring any tracking tech with you? No, I only brought the mem cube, some medicine, and my communicator. Rayan's eyes widened. Your communicator. He ran to her bag and pulled it out. The screen was black, but heat was coming from the back. It was transmitting. It's been active this whole time. Illyra's face turned pale. I didn't know. Suddenly, Novi cried out from the far side of the shelter. Illyra! Rayan! They ran to him. He pointed at the wall, small red dots. We're moving on the scanner Rayan had set up earlier. Drones. Coming fast. It's a trap, Rayan said. They used us to find this place. He grabbed his gear. We're leaving, now. But the sound of engines filled the air outside. Not just drones, something bigger. Rayan looked through the cracked window. A ship was landing on the far ridge. Not a hunter ship, this was different. Sleek, black, and covered in strange markings. That's not Earth military, Illyra whispered. Novi stepped forward. I know that ship. Rayan stared at him. How? I saw it in my dream. A loud thud hit the roof. Dust fell from the ceiling. A voice echoed through a speaker. Surrender the child. This is your only chance. Rayan looked at Illyra. Options? Run, she said. Again, Rayan shook his head. No, not this time. He opened a storage locker and pulled out 2 weapons, 1 small blaster, 1 sonic mine. He handed the blaster to Illyra. We fight? We survive, he said. Novi stood between them. He looked up, face calm. I can help, he said. Rayan placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. I know. Outside, the enemy moved in silent and fast. They didn't expect a fight, but Rayan was ready. His past had returned. And this time he wasn't alone. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was a protector, and protectors don't run. The moon of Vara 3 shook under heavy boots. Dust rose in clouds as the enemy ship landed, silent but full of power. Black armored figures stepped out tall, fast, and without mercy. Inside the old mining shelter, Rayan stood still, eyes sharp. His weapon was ready. Beside him, Illyra gripped the small blaster he had given her. Novi stood between them, calm but focused. Stay behind me, Rayan whispered. Novi didn't move. I'm not afraid. Rayan gave him a quick glance. You should be. Outside, the enemy spoke again through a loudspeaker. Surrender the child. Last warning. Rayan didn't answer. Instead, he placed a small sonic mine by the door and looked at Illyra. When I give the signal, cover Novi and move toward the ship. Don't stop, got it? Illyra nodded. The silence outside turned into footsteps, slow, heavy, getting closer. Rayan waited. Then hit the trigger. Boom! The mine exploded, sending out a shockwave. Dust flew, the door blasted open, and 2 enemies were thrown back. Go! Rayan shouted. Illyra grabbed Novi and ran. Rayan followed, firing at the dark figures moving through the smoke. His aim was strong, fast, years of training still alive in him. One of the enemy soldiers dropped. Another dodged and fired back. Illyra reached the ship first. She opened the hatch and pushed Novi inside. Rayan rolled behind a broken wall, firing again. But this time, the shots bounced off the enemy's armor. They've upgraded. He muttered. Then everything stopped. A voice came not from the speaker, not from a soldier. It came from behind the enemy line. Calm, cold, human. Stand down, the voice said. Let me speak to him. The soldiers froze, stepping aside. A tall man walked forward. No armor, no mask. Just a dark coat and silver gloves. His face was clean, cold, and familiar. Rayan's blood turned to ice. No, he whispered. Illyra saw him too. Her eyes widened in shock. It's him. Novi stepped to the doorway of the ship, staring at the man. That's the one who... Illyra pulled him back. Rayan stood slowly, weapon still in hand. The man stopped. A few steps away. It's been a long time, Rayan, he said. General Voss. Rayan replied, voice tight. The man smiled. You still remember? Rayan aimed his weapon. I remember everything. Especially what you did on Zoran. General. Voss tilted his head. I was doing my duty. And now I'm doing it again. He looked toward the ship. Hand over the child. He's not safe with you. Rayan laughed, once dry and bitter. You mean he's not safe for you? Voss's voice turned cold. That child is dangerous. He has power no one fully understands. He must be studied, contained. You mean locked away or killed, if necessary. Rayan took a step forward. You always feared what you couldn't control. You feared peace. That's why you burned Zoran, and now you're hunting a 6-year-old boy. General Voss didn't blink. You're making a mistake, Rayan. Protecting him will cost you your life. Then I'll die standing, Rayan said. Voss sighed and raised a hand. His soldiers moved in fast. Rayan fired, ducked, rolled. The battle was chaos. Illyra joined the fight from the ship's entrance, hitting one soldier with a sharp shot to the helmet. Novi watched, trembling. He closed his eyes, and everything went still. The world around him shifted. Light bent, time paused for a second. Then a burst of white energy exploded from Novi's body. The enemy soldiers fell back. Stunned, Rayen and Alira covered their eyes. When the light faded, only one figure was still standing, General Voss. He stared at Novi with something strange in his eyes. Not anger, not fear, but hunger. So it's true, he whispered. The boy holds the key. He stepped forward, but Rayen blocked his path. Stay away from him. Voss narrowed his eyes. You can't protect him forever. Rayen didn't flinch. Watch me. Voss raised his hand to signal. Attack again, but something unexpected happened. From the sky, another ship arrived, sleek, golden, and fast. It fired a warning shot near Voss's team, forcing them to retreat. Lia looked up in shock. That ship! It's Zoran made! Rayen grabbed Novi and ran to the ship. Alira followed. The golden ship landed. Its doors open. A voice echoed from inside. Rayen, Alira, Novi, come with us if you want to live. They didn't wait. As they flew into the stars again, Novi looked back at the moon. His small voice broke the silence. He won't stop, Rayen nodded. Then neither will we. The golden ship flew fast through deep space, cutting across. Stars like a blade through water. Inside, the silence was tense. No one spoke for a long time. Not Rayen, not Alira, not even Novi. Finally, a voice came from the cockpit. We'll be landing soon. Rayen stepped forward. At the controls sat a woman with short silver hair and sharp green eyes. She wore a dark jacket, worn from use. Her voice was calm, steady, someone used to danger. Jin, Rayen said, you came. She looked over her shoulder and gave a half smile. Couldn't let you die without me. Alira watched carefully. Who is she? Rayen answered, an old friend. A hacker, best pilot I've ever known. Jin nodded toward Novi. So, this is the boy everyone wants dead. Novi stared back at her, unblinking. You're not afraid of me? She raised an eyebrow. Should I be? Novi shook his head slowly. No, not if you're here to help. Jin nodded once. Good answer. They landed on a quiet moon called Ivorus, far from trade routes and space patrols. It was hidden by gas clouds, almost invisible to scanners. Only outlaws, rebels, and ghosts lived here. Jin led them through narrow paths to an underground shelter. Old but strong. Inside were weapons, computers, medical kits, and supplies. This is where we prepare, Jin said. Because the storm is coming. Rayen looked at her. How bad? Jin pulled up a screen. A large map showed dozens of red DOTs moving in spaceships. Too many. General Voss is moving everything he has, she said. Military, drones, bounty hunters, he wants that child. Alira put a hand on Novi's shoulder. He'll never get him. Jin turned toward Rayen. I can scramble comms, jam sensors, maybe even knock a few ships out of the sky. But this fight? It's bigger than weapons, Rayen nodded. It always was. That night, Rayen sat by the fire outside the bunker. Stars blinked above, but he didn't look up. His thoughts were heavy. Lir sat beside him. Are you afraid? Rayen didn't answer at first. Yes, he finally said. But not for me. She understood. I never thought I'd be running from my own people, he said. You're not. She replied, you're standing for something greater. Rayen looked at her. I used to believe in rules and orders. But orders kill. I've seen it. She touched his arm gently. You're not that man anymore. In the distance, Novi sat alone, eyes closed, breathing slowly. Around him, small stones floated in the air, not from wind. From him. Jin watched, amazed. He's learning to control it. Rayen walked over. What are you doing, kid? Focusing. Novi said, my father told me before he died. That power without control is like fire in the wind. Rayen nodded. You're doing good. Novi opened his eyes. They're coming. I can feel them. How many? A lot? By morning. The sky turned red. Sensors screamed. Enemy ships entered orbit. Jin cursed. They found us. Rayen stood and checked his weapon. Then we stand. Alira loaded a rifle. No more running. Jin handed Rayen a small device. P-launcher. Short range only. But it might buy you a few seconds. Rayen smiled. Sometimes. That's all you need. Outside, dropships landed. Soldiers poured out. Drones flew overhead. Rayan stood at the front line beside Alira, Jin, and a few rebel fighters Jin had called in from nearby moons. Then came the voice, General Voss. Broadcasting from above. Rayan, this is your last chance. Hand over the child. Walk away, live. Rayan looked up at the sky and replied calmly, You've already taken too much. You don't deserve peace. No reply, only weapons charging. The battle began. Explosions lit the valley. Blasters fired from every side. Drones flew low, scanning, attacking, hunting. Jin scrambled enemy tech, cutting off their sensors. Alira fought like fire sharp, fast, focused. Rayan led the line, moving from cover to cover, taking down enemies. With every shot, and Novi walked calmly through the battlefield. Light pulsed from his hands, pushing enemies away without touching them. A drone aimed at him, but its circuits fried instantly. He wasn't just defending, he was becoming something else. More than human, more than alien. A symbol. In the heart of the fight, a shuttle landed. From it, Voss stepped out alone. He walked toward Rayan. Weapon drawn, they faced each other, just like old times. Voss spoke first. You were always a rebel, always soft. Rayan replied, and you were always a coward. They raised weapons at the same time, but Voss never got the shot off. A beam of white light, silent and strong, hit him from behind. Novi. Voss dropped to his knees, his weapon falling from his hand. He looked up at the boy, shocked. You don't even hate me? He asked. Novi shook his head. I pity you. And then, darkness took the general. The battlefield went quiet. The enemy, leaderless, began to fall back, one by one. They dropped their weapons and vanished into the sky. Rayan stood tall, covered in dust and sweat. It was over. For now, he looked at Novi. The boy was tired, eyes heavy, but still standing. You okay? Rayan asked. Novi nodded. I'm ready. For what? Novi looked at the stars. For what comes next? The sky over Ivorus was quiet now. No more ships. No more gunfire. Just smoke rising from the hills and wind moving through broken ground. Rayan stood alone on the ridge, watching the sunrise through the thin clouds. The first real light they'd seen in days. Behind him, the bunker was full of life-wounded rebels, old fighters, even strangers who had joined during the battle. They all spoke of one thing, the boy, the child who ended the war, without hate, without fear. Novi. But Rayan didn't care about stories. He only cared that the boy was alive. Footsteps came from behind. Elia. She stood beside him, her arm wrapped in bandages, her face calm. He's resting, she said. Rayan nodded. He saved us all. She added, No, Rayan said quietly. You saved him first? They stood in silence. Then Alira turned to him. He sees you as more than a protector now. Rayan didn't look at her. I was just a man who couldn't walk away. Exactly, she said. That's why you became more. Inside the bunker, Novi lay on a simple bed, his eyes closed, his breathing soft. Around him were glowing crystals that Jin had brought from the caves. They helped him heal, helped him calm the power inside him. Jin sat near the door, tapping on a broken drone. You're awake, she said without looking. Novi opened his eyes. How long? Almost a day. You used a lot of energy. He sat up slowly. Where's Rayan? Outside. Watching the sky like always? Novi nodded. He doesn't trust quiet. No, Jin said. Not after everything he's seen. He stood, walked slowly to the door. I want to see him. Rayan was still on the ridge when he heard the boy's voice. You said you'd protect me. Rayan turned around. Novi stood behind him, wrapped in a long coat, his silver eyes clear and calm. I did, Rayan said, and I still will. But the danger is gone now, Novi replied. Rayan looked at the sky. Not forever. Men like Voss come back. Maybe. Not in his name, but in others. Then I'll be ready. Rayan knelt beside him. You don't have to carry the whole world. Novi shook his head. Maybe not. But I carry part of it, Rayan smiled. You're not a kid anymore. I am, Novi said. Just not a normal one. They both laughed, quietly. Later, the people of Ivorus gathered in the valley. Word had spread across systems of a child with light in his hands, of a man who stood alone against machines, of a mother who carried her son across the stars to save him. They came with gifts, with questions. With hope. Lir stood beside her son, strong and proud. Jin stood behind them, arms crossed, scanning every face. Rayan kept his distance, watching it all. He wasn't good at crowds. Never had been. A man approached him. Old, tired, but with kind eyes. You're Rayan? Rayan nodded. You have no idea what you've done for us, the man said. I didn't do it for you. I know, the man replied. That's why? It worked. Then he left, disappearing into the crowd. Rayan looked around. People smiling, children playing. No more fear. He felt strange. Like he didn't belong, like his job was done. That night he packed his bag. Elira found him by the ship. You're leaving? She asked. Rayan didn't turn around. This place doesn't need me anymore. But we do. Rayan looked at her. He's stronger than me now, smarter. He has people, a future. You're part of that future. Rayan shook his head. I'm not made for peace. She stepped forward. You don't have to be. Just stay. For him. Rayan looked into her eyes. I've never had a family. Elira smiled. Now you do. He looked out at his bag. Then slowly he dropped it. In the days that followed, Rayan stayed. He taught young rebels how to fight, but also how to think. How to protect, not just attack. Jin built a new ship's leak. Silent, powerful. She called it the Hope Fire. Lir started a school for off-world children, especially hybrids like Novi, those who had nowhere to belong, and Novi. He trained every day, not just his power but his heart. He learned to forgive, to guide, to lead. One night he sat with Rayan under the stars. Do you miss your old life? Novi asked. Rayan shook his head. No, it brought me to this one, Novi smiled. Then I'm glad you walked into that fire. Rayan looked at him, his eyes soft. Me too, kid. And for the first time in many years, Rayan felt peace, not because the war was over, but because something stronger had begun. Family. Hope. A reason to keep walking.